there was a higher time frame fair value gap down here, which was what it was actually reaching for, if you can see, which was a market maker buy model. Original consolidation, distribution, came back up, reaccumulated, and then ran down to the actual target. All right, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Lewis. If this is your first time watching or tuning into the YouTube channel, I appreciate you for taking the time out of your day to actually check out this video. I want to jump right into the video. I'm gonna leave all the rants and everything that I have to say towards the end of the video. The only things I'm gonna say is make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share with a friend. Thank you so much for your support, honestly, because everything has been growing very quickly. Everything has been growing. The Instagram has been growing. The YouTube channel has been growing. I am putting out constant videos on both. Once again, thank you for that. We're gonna get straight into the video. I'm gonna just do a recap on these trades that I took for the past week, and then I'm gonna talk a little bit about everything that's been going on at the end of the video. So let's get straight to it. So we're gonna start off on Monday the 26th. I don't have a screenshot for this day, but I do have my journal notes, so we're gonna use that for that day. I believe that day was a very bad day for me. I just decided to call it quits after all the nonsense that I did, but I'm just gonna read off what I wrote for that day. Okay, so on Monday I have written, and this is why it's so important to journal, especially when you have a bad day, and you have to be completely honest with yourself, because that's the only way that you're really gonna get better at trading. So the 26th, I have over traded 3 trades in less than 2 hours. I took a unicorn model that didn't come off a higher time frame level, and I'm gonna explain everything that I was talking about anyways. I noticed the consolidation in Asia and thought that the move in London was manipulation, since I noticed the unicorn model. In fact, it was a market maker sell model. It's reaching for a higher time frame level. I said be on the lookout for sells once it reaches that level. I don't remember what level I was talking about. I think I was talking about this high. I think I was talking about this high right here that posted on last week on Tuesday. But let's get into what I should have actually noticed, which was that Monday. This is what I thought the consolidation was. I guess you could say this small part right here was a consolidation, but as you can see, took out buy side liquidity when it went up, filled in this fair value gap, and then it went up. And New York was just a continuation off that move. As you can see, this fair value gap right here ended up being respected, and I could have easily took that trade off of there. This fair value gap right here ended up being respected. Could have noticed that, and I don't know what I did. I knew I took a bunch of positions. I think I took 3 positions in a span of maybe an hour and 30 minutes, and my buys just kept flipping. I have noticed that Mondays and Fridays are my worst days, and I'll leave Friday till we get to that day, but for right now we're only going to talk about Monday. But I could have took this trade off of here, say for example, have my low below the fair value gap, and then could have easily targeted these highs and this internal liquidity right here. Could have took my profits here, and I'm going to talk about taking profits more towards the end of the video because I have a lot to say about that. We had internal buy side liquidity here, and then we were reaching for this external one, but at the end of the day I didn't take that trade. It would have been a 6.57 risk to reward ratio, and I would have been very happy, but I didn't take that. I took a bunch of nonsense trades, and I kept getting in and out, and I honestly had a buy at that point, but I think I got out of it because I got scared. And it happens. I see that it happens to me when I get in, and it's not exactly a setup that I usually would get in on. Even though I know, for example, I knew price was gonna go up for this day, I got out of the buy position I got in because it wasn't a setup I was used to. But it's okay. Know that this is just part of the process, and I keep saying that, but honestly I'm learning so much. I actually reached today my milestone for 3 months live trading. I'm profitable in those 3 months, but not consistently, which is really pissing me off. And it's not because I'm a bad trader or anything like that. It's because I don't follow my own rules, and that is costing me more than it should be. All I have to really do is just follow my own rules, and I guarantee that I will be consistently profitable because most of my trades are winning trades. I know what I'm doing. The only thing is that I'm not following my rules. But either way, so Tuesday probably was the best trade of the week. I took a play off of the manipulation during news, and I knew that it was going to manipulate down and go up because I was bullish on the day. We had already been going down after the Asian session, and we didn't take out the buy side liquidity in Asia. If we keep on going down and I don't see any type of setup before the 8:30 news, I'm just gonna wait for the news, and then I'll make a play off of that or after that. But once I got into the market, it was basically around this time here, 7:30, and after that, so I was like, let me just wait. I don't think anything is gonna set up so far, and I noticed that we were forming these equal lows down here and didn't come down to take the sell side liquidity that was sitting under this low. As you can see, sell side liquidity under this low. So I said, let me be patient and just watch the candle at 8:30, and this is what ended up forming. As you can see, this very long wick, but the body was telling the actual story. And there was also a higher time frame PD array down here from the week prior, so I just played off of that. I waited till the candle flipped over. I honestly could have got in right after the sell side liquidity was taken because I was bullish on this day, but I waited and it ended up playing out. As you can see, it took a little bit longer. I honestly should have took profits right above this high in London, and I had a chance of being stopped out when it came down here, but I was positive that it was gonna go up, and it did. But don't do that. I'm gonna save that towards the end. Make sure you're checking out the end of this video because I'm gonna talk about that. If you see internal range liquidity, take it, because the market can easily reverse on you. So always take your profits. What's happening with me is I get very greedy when it comes to the profits. I see, for example, I have a certain amount that I know I'm going to make for a trade if it goes all the way up to my take profit, and then I don't want to cut my position in half once I get to that internal range liquidity, because technically I wouldn't be making the same amount if I would have just let my full position run. But like I always say, nothing is guaranteed in these markets. So if you have internal range liquidity before you get to your actual target, make sure you take that. Don't leave anything to these markets, because they don't care about what you're thinking and what you think is going to happen. If it's going to reverse on you, it will reverse. I took a bigger risk that day and it ended up playing out, but that doesn't mean that it's always going to play out. It was a 3.6 risk to reward ratio and it played out. I had no real drawdown that day, but like I said, if you have internal range liquidity like there is right above this high, you should take it and then leave a runner, see what happens. Move your stop loss to break even and then let it run from there. Don't be too greedy. Take what you can from these markets and you will be consistently profitable. Now moving on to the example that I was talking about before on Wednesday. So Wednesday was a similar thing. Don't mind all the lines, because on Wednesday I was studying and I learned some new stuff and I ended up changing the levels and all that. But same type of play on Wednesday as it was the day before on Tuesday. There was high impact news on Wednesday and I'm starting to really understand what's going on during this manipulation during the news. I wouldn't suggest anybody to just hop in there and start trading news days, because it is not guaranteed. It worked for me on both news days this week and I can't be mad at it, but it was very risky. Same type of thing. As you can see, the 830 candle has some crazy wicks up and down, but I took my chances on a buy because I noticed that it ended up reaching for this higher time frame bullish order block. I believe this is a 1 hour and it just touched the wicks and never really got to the body of the higher time frame. That's what happens sometimes. It doesn't have to get to the body. It would just touch the wick and then go off, and that's exactly what happened. And as you can see, it ended up going up, and I had my actual target being the high from that Tuesday from the week prior, and it never got up there. But there was multiple levels where I could have took profit. I could have took profit right here, and I also could have took profits on the high from the London session, but I didn't. The crazy part is it got up to the high from Monday and reversed, and look at this drop. Look at this drop. That is a crazy drop. I don't even know how much that is in percentage, but from that high to the low it ended up posting on that day is a 0.76% decrease, and that can happen to you if you don't take profits. So learn your lesson. I definitely have learned mine, and I'm not gonna let greediness get in between. If I see some internal range liquidity, I don't care if, for example, I take half of my position off at this internal range liquidity and then it goes up to my target. I guess I'm just gonna have to take it, because at the end of the day it's not guaranteed that it's gonna go up, and it ended up doing that here. As you can see, it ended up dropping off dramatically, but that's just what could happen with these type of trades. So easily could have took profit above this buy side liquidity and moved my stop loss to break even, and I could have had a winning trade that day. As you can see, this is what ended up happening. Either way, let's move on to the next day, which was on Thursday. Thursday's trade was right here, and honestly I was just waiting to see what would happen on Thursday. I didn't know what was going to end up happening, because Thursday could either be a continuation, which it clearly was here, or it could just be a straight up reversal and come back all the way up. And as you can see, this is kind of a consolidation, so I was like, I don't know if it's gonna go up in reverse from this move and fill in this gap, or if it's just gonna go all the way down. So what I ended up doing was just waiting, honestly. But I did notice we had swept liquidity from the lows in Asia down here. As you can see, we swept sell side liquidity from the lows in Asia. Then we came up here and ended up taking the liquidity from that high, and I believe there might have been some news on Thursday as well with this 830 candle, and it was just straight up displacement to the downside. So as you can see, we have these relatively equal lows down here, which ended up being the new sell side liquidity. So I took my play off of that. I honestly could have held, but I hadn't noticed that there was a higher time frame fair value gap down here, which was what it was actually reaching for, if you can see, which was a market maker buy model. Original consolidation, distribution, came back up, reaccumulated, got up to this fair value gap, and then ran down to the actual target, and it ended up coming back up to the consolidation of the day prior. I took that trade and it was a 3.45 risk to reward ratio. Like I said, I didn't notice the higher time frame fair value gap. I believe it was on the weekly right under that, which was what it was actually targeting with this market maker sell model. Got my win on that day and I wasn't mad about it. Now let's move on to the next day, which was Friday. Friday was a total mess. As you can see, we were like in this weird consolidation coming off of the Asian session. I knew we were in a consolidation because these candles were just too perfect and they just kept going up. And the crazy part about it is I posted this on my story, so if you're not following me on Instagram, make sure you go follow me on Instagram. I was waiting for this to happen. I was waiting for price to come back down into this fair value gap that you clearly see right here so that I could take my entry. And I kid you not, this candle ended up forming in less than a second. I was looking at my chart on my phone waiting for it to come down as it started coming down, and it literally, I didn't take my eyes off the chart, and I'm not even being dramatic when I say this. It went all the way down and it came right back up. It didn't even give me a chance to get into this fair value gap because it was coming down and then just went boom all the way down, filled in the fair value gap, and then went right back up. And that could have been my trade right there. I was honestly just waiting for it to come in here, and it could have been, if, for example, I got filled in right here, I was gonna have my stop loss at the bottom of the fair value gap and then have my target be the high of London. That would have been a 7.23 risk to reward ratio, and I would have been totally fine with that. And the crazier part was that I also knew that there was news at 10. I noticed that price action was in this consolidation. I knew that this level, something was just telling me to do a turtle soup sell as soon as we got above the liquidity from the high in London, and this candle honestly ended up validating that. I just never got in. I could have targeted the lows down here because there was a 4-hour fair value gap that was under this small consolidation, and I just didn't take that trade. I don't know, but for some reason I noticed that since we were bullish from coming into this weekly fair value gap, as you can see, price is actually bullish up into this point, which I thought was just going to be the manipulation all the way down. I was going to take a trade off of that. I really shouldn't have done that because it was already Friday and it was after 10, which the market tends to just be very quiet after that on Fridays. So as you can see, we ended up consolidating and fill it in this fair value gap, and now we're coming back up on Sunday. But I honestly think that it's going to end up coming back down tomorrow and filling in this fair value gap. So I'm going to be looking for a short tomorrow either way. But yeah, don't take trades on Friday after news in the afternoon because it's just quiet. Price action is just choppy and it's no good. I had a chance for 2 trades right here, and I was gonna be like, okay, I was already ready to go back to sleep because I was up since 6 in the morning this day. I was ready to just be like, okay, I didn't take a trade today, that's fine with me, and go back to sleep. But no, I ended up taking this trade thinking that we were gonna bounce up and maybe recover a little bit, and then I was gonna end up closing out before the end of the day, but it never came up. It stopped me out and I ended up losing money, went straight to sleep. But yeah, that is the trade recap for this past week. Let's just talk about what I actually wanted to say. First thing I wanted to say is, hey, I've been trading live for 3 months. Can't be mad at myself. I am extremely happy with the progress that I've made, and I'm getting a lot better. I'm gonna chart for the week right after this video, and I know that I'm gonna have a very good week this coming up week. I have to still check the news just to make sure that I am prepared for everything. But like I wanted to say, don't let greed take over. If you have any internal range liquidity, take out 50% of your position and let the rest run. Take out 90% of your position depending on how big your trade actually is, and then move your stop loss. And I guarantee you that you will be a successful, profitable, consistently profitable trader. And that is my problem that I have to fix right now, and I'm definitely working on it. That is something that I've noticed is one of my biggest problems, which is also on top of that, my Monday trading. My Monday is not as bad as my Friday. Mondays, I have a very good track record, but it's not as good as it is Tuesday through Thursday. And then Fridays is just junk for me. I just have to be more patient with those 2 days. Tomorrow, I'm definitely going to be looking for a sell just based off what the Asian session is starting to look like with these candles forming like that. I think we're going to come back down and fill in this fair value gap on the weekly, which could be the market structure shift, honestly, that I was waiting for. I should have just noticed it right here, honestly, because you can see market structure shift. But that's about it. Yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I'll catch you on the next one. Once again, thank you so much for your support on the YouTube channel and on Instagram. I'm just documenting my trading journey, and hopefully you can learn something from it and get something from it. But once again, thank you. Peace.